Welcome today to Defy Your Limits. Today we have Luz, and this is going to be a fun conversation. I'm super excited to get to chat with you today, and talk to the audience on your journey, your experience in digital entrepreneurship, coming from a traditional background in cosmetology, and now learning how to basically digitize your life and create all of your income from the literal cell phone. Like I think
Yeah.
it's such a cool skill that you have, and your ability to help other people in this industry of UCG and content and trading. There's so many different ways and different lanes that you've been able to monetize, and I can't wait to dive into all of them. But first of all, Luz, welcome to the podcast, and feel free to hop in and share a little bit, like, where are you from right now, what are you working on, and we can just go from there.
Thank you. That was a great intro. Wow. It's like sometimes what takes me 5 minutes to talk about it, you could just do it in one shot. I love it. But right now I am in Queens, New York. So I've seen like this thing go around on Instagram talking about like New Yorkers arguing like what is the city? So it's like Manhattan, we have our boroughs, but it's a lot. It's a big, big cultural mix for sure. I think Queens is a very particular place because of that. There's such a mesh of everything, so fast paced. You got food everywhere, malls everywhere, like just entertainment and ways to spend your money like you wouldn't even believe.
Yeah.
But I'm not too far from NYC, the city, Manhattan, which is even more hyped up. I feel like if you've never been to New York, like I had a friend from Minnesota come a couple months ago and she was just like, yeah, I'm living here. And yeah, you should. You'll always have something to do, especially being from, I know you're in Texas. We were just talking about how I want to go back because I thought it was great, but I definitely didn't explore. Yeah, I guess to wrap up because it's a lot, I learned the trade of cosmetology in high school, thank God. Funny story, it was the last school I put in my application. I cried when I saw that I went to that one, but I'm so grateful I did because most of my friends, we were graduating already with the mentality that if you didn't want to continue your education, you could already like start on the floor, work, make money, but the mindset was very different back then. As someone who's always been in extracurricular activities, acting, modeling, and like life just always felt so fun. I always enjoyed what I was doing, and like my parents spoiled us in that way where school was super important, but also stick to something, right? So I got into dance a little after in life. I mean, I started when I was young and then I kind of fell off, through the middle school, high school thing. You want to like hang out with your friends and kind of do nothing and just explore life. But I found myself going back to makeup and hair through dance. Yeah, I was kind of the only one that like enjoyed the process out of my friends when we were getting ready for the theater and stuff. Again, oh, I could monetize this. I'm only 18 and people are paying me to do their makeup and stuff. Around that time, Instagram was out. I'd say blowing up, growing. Yeah, and like makeup influencing was such a huge thing. These companies really like showing what the whole PR side of that world was. And like I was just thinking dollars, money, business, my own boss, this is how it's gonna happen. And it did. I built on it. Fast forward to pandemic. Again, it was the only thing I really knew how to do outside of dance. I've been good at other things. I wanted to go to school for writing actually. That's why I was so pissed I got into the Cosmo school. It's so funny to think of now.
It's always, you can only connect the dots going backwards.
Literally. And like now I'm going back into I never left writing, like business teaching you not only communication, but like we'll get into the whole mindset, the spiritual side of business, right? We write a lot. So if you have a lot of thoughts and you haven't written down your thoughts, that's what you're missing. But yeah, going back to that pandemic showcasing my makeup and doing like insane looks I had 4 hours to do every single day on my face. So I think it like built a community, but I quickly shifted after that because I'm like, all right, well, during the pandemic, I don't have any clients that are paying my rent right now. So what am I going to do? And being that I was already online, one of my dance friends was in another network marketing company that was beauty and skincare based. And she's like, girl, how we all tell our friends, right? Because I've been there. Like, you do this. Why are you not doing this?
I
And I was
love
like, okay, you're right. You're right. So we were hyped. We loved it. Honestly, it's how I met the mentor I have now, the people I work with now. It was like 1 degree of like someone getting me in the place. Now we're following a whole bunch of girls online, making money online and like direct sales and growing their page and doing all this. And I'm like, this is like the YouTube days, but different, you know? So again, like all the lines are connecting. And to just save the boring stuff, it was a place where, yeah, I love my makeup and making people feel great about themselves. But I think what I do now allows people to be great, not just feel great. So it went so much deeper very quickly, and I've learned skill sets that I thought I had to pay an arm and a leg to learn and take 10, 20 years to learn. But I realized it's really just your mindset. No matter what you do, no matter what you're going through right now, it's really your mindset's going to carry you most of the way. You know, like things are going to be hard, they're going to be different. We're young. I know there's gonna be things in 10 years that we're like, I never thought we would be doing this. And like, I'm gonna see pictures of you doing it, and we'll probably bump into each other somewhere, you know, across the world. But all those moments lead to where you're at right now. So, digitalizing was already a necessity before I had my kid.
yeah.
And then along the way, like year 1, 2 of trading, but really year 1 of me, like even understanding what network marketing is, because that's, you know, the industry that I'm in. There's a lot of educational platforms and product based services and all that that you could monetize with too. You know, you can leverage these companies while you're still figuring yourself out. Because if you hear about everything I just said, like, makeup artist Luz, who didn't even wanna be a makeup artist, is now a mommy trader. Like, what? In what world do they collide? But it works because now I'm at home with her, waking up to TPs sometimes, or, you know, building money in a way where it could be slower than we understand, but it catches up quick, and it's also a type of growth that like our traditional work system does not ever compensate.
Yeah. And for the listener that's listening in that has no idea what trading is, like from a very beginner's standpoint, how would you explain that to them?
When I first heard of it, I also had no idea what it was. Funny enough, my dad's first career jobs were actually on trading floors.
No
So
way.
this is like a whole
A family dynamic.
moment, yeah, like we're getting our what we deserve type of thing. I would say that when I first heard about it, it was like, oh, the first time that people like you and I have access to these markets that have been around for years already, right? The largest financial markets in the world. So, like, stock market, now the crypto market, which is a baby, but has already outperformed the stock market, which is crazy, right? I think, did I say foreign exchange yet? Different things, but just think of it as like pools of money. And now, because of our phones and because of all this technology, we have access just by having apps. So, like, you don't need to know anything, you don't even need a lot of money. They will want you to participate. It's almost like an incentive. So, instead of just doing it blindly, you know, you can educate yourself on the skill set, a market that is always either rising or falling momentarily, right? I don't think we have crashes. We just have little breathing moments. It's like your heart rate, you know, roller coasters, all that. It happens. It's like I see trading everywhere now. I'm like, of course, this would happen with money. It's just the cycle of life, you know? So if you learn to ride those waves, I think it's a lot more real for people, especially if you have the education around you. Um, and I think people complicate it so much. It's like, no, they just want more volume. Download the app right now. I'll show you how to make like $2 in 3 seconds. And yeah, you don't need to be like great with numbers again. I'm not saying I'm definitely not dumb, but I'm a makeup artist. So I wasn't thinking in numbers and charts and weird stuff. I was like, I know how to use my hands and I'm good with color, you know? Besides that, I had no idea I would be so deep into it.
It's so cool because you had to pivot in 2020 when the world shut down, and you obviously found different ways to create income. And trading was one of them that still to this day, I know you and I both, that is a one of the best skill sets that you could possibly spend your time learning because at any given moment, if anything changes, you know how to go into the market and extract whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the skill set and the willingness to go through the year 1, year 2, year 3. Freaking
Every year is a movie. Like, you think you're a pro, you know, we have the 3-year mark. And I even did that last year where instead of growing my account, I was like, it's 3 years. I'm just going to withdraw every time I make this amount. And it's like, I'm glad I did because I was reinvesting in myself. Again, key of having different funnels. Like, I wanted to tour and I wanted to go to as many events as possible just to kind of like show myself that I could. I knew I could. I've always traveled, but I just needed to make it real. So I'm like, okay, bet. And then I did that. And now I'm back in like year one where I'm like, okay, the ignorance is not bliss. I'm gonna take, like, the blissness from that moment, understand that that piece comes with practice, which we've done it. So, like, chill. You're no longer an imposter. You did this once. You grow your accounts all the time. It's been I don't remember the last time I blew one, to be honest, but, like, that was my non-negotiable. No more after year 3 because we are great risk managers, right?
one of the coolest processes for anybody listening is the ability to go from not knowing what a market is to understanding what you can even use apps to to go into a market and to make income from it.
Right.
And then to use that income to invest back into your skill sets is a really worthwhile like pursuit, and I think it's so cool to watch you do it and to see how you go about doing it because your trading looks totally different than my trading, and my trading looks totally different than somebody else's trading. And it's like
Yeah,
I remember the first couple years of just pressing buttons all the time just to see what happens and to figure out the emotional roller coaster of what it was like to have money in the markets and be like, what is happening?
yeah.
I think every trader that ever goes through the journey of figuring that out gets to a point where they're like, it's just risk management. It's just,
You realize, like, all the other stuff was, like, just how I felt in real life that was affecting this, but yeah, it's just risk management.
it's like,
Losing, winning has the same taste when you're following that simple rule.
and it's like, so having the plan in place and having the structure in place for you to be able to withstand the losses and the wins. You and I both know that you can be a phenomenal trader and still lose more trades than you win,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
well, the great thing about trading is it's the one sport where you could lose most of the time and you're still profitable. You can lose up to 70% of the time.
yeah, you can lose 70 and win if your risk to reward is right.
Yeah. So it's like another type of cheat sheet that I haven't found anywhere else. If you're telling me I just gotta have certain things in check, okay, I'm gonna continue going through it and figure it out.
It's like if somebody in school told me I could get a 30% on a test and still pass, I would have been like, you're crazy. Like, you're absolutely crazy. But that's not what the school system's designed to teach us.
Yeah.
So, being in a world, especially if you are listening and you, because I know the people that are on like my channel, they probably were straight A students, B students, like top performers in everything that you've done. And you get to a world of trading where you're literally like actually supposed to learn how to lose better. Like you have to learn how to lose and lose gracefully, to where it doesn't destroy
Yeah.
you. Talk to us a little bit about like what it was like shifting from traditional business to digital business, and then like how that plays out in your life and like who you get to help now because of that.
It's crazy because, like, hearing you even say that, I haven't ever really had anyone even in my family do like traditional business, be that example of like a business owner. Like, yes, my dad has his own businesses and I know he's had his ventures as I get older and he like talks to me about these things, but at the end of the day, still corporate, still also under his trade, same industry. So I feel like again, I'm in the ignorant, blissful part because I don't really like I didn't see anyone struggling close to me, opening and closing their doors during COVID or like stuff like that? Whereas now digital, it's like, this is how I grew up. Like, what do you mean? Like, all I remember since I was 15 was the beginning of digitalizing whatever value you've had, whatever business venture you want to market. The go to way that I know is like Instagram. That's how it's ingrained in my brain. So,
Be on Instagram.
yeah, and it's funny that, like, again, this is so easy to me talking to a camera, being in a room, but like the moment I put it in person or like I can only imagine like door to door sales. In my mind, I'm really like, what? I can never do that. Like, what? Door to door. I have to knock on someone's door to sell them something. I would think they'll like throw something out the window at me. But it's so funny to like know so many of our friends that still are in that traditional grind. Would I do it? What I'd probably go back to a lot of things. Like I'm actually brewing what I want to do when my daughter goes back to school because I'm also now plotting. Should I get something that like keeps me in the same room as her? Like I'll be close to you because I have worked with kids in the school system before. So weird. Like it's all these different parts of me. I feel like I understand the security, the trades within a traditional job. I respect most things. It actually annoys me that most jobs don't get paid more. Like, I think teachers should be one of the highest paid. They're literally in person, like doing the trench work with our kids. But because of that, I'm like, okay, how could we add value to what we already carry? And because it's so easy to market yourself on whatever page or platform you're already on, it's like, it's just the way I'm already programmed. But I would say it definitely expands. Like, I feel like there's endless opportunity, and that's why I kind of keep going because I'm like, I know something's gonna give. Like, I've been doing this for so long. I'm gonna figure out within my season now that I'm gonna have that time back to myself. That's another thing, too. I feel like during this whole transition of even like trading to learning UGC and like going back into that world for myself, I've also been raising a whole kid, so, like, my schedule has not been the same when it comes to any sort of fixed schedule for me to just, like, mark up a chart, like, that hasn't existed in, like, 3 years, which is crazy.
Like an actual schedule. Like you kind of just live your day on like
Well, no. I have Apple, Google Calendar, but what I'm saying is, like, to think of that like, I feel like the past 3 years I've had no independence, like, my job has been to nurture. And
gotcha.
even that in itself has shown me who I wanna show up as now. If I'm capable of, doing this, it's like these are parts of me too. So now I can nurture whatever I got going on
Mm,
online differently. It's not
yeah,
just a screen loose. You actually are making connections?
it's relationships, yeah.
And that I didn't notice until we would like meet up at events where I'm like, I've never met this person in person, but we've been talking for years and like hearing each other's stories, watching each other grow. So it really like merged those two worlds. If 2000s and 2020 met and became best friends, where because I feel like that really is our era. I grew up like playing on huge computers. What do you mean? Like we got markets on our phones now? We've lived that? Whoa, no wonder we're kinda going a little crazy if we have no direction, right? Because we're living in an outdated world up here. So, I think that's an advantage though of, like, if you were already online for whatever reason, kind of passionate about whatever, but trying to expose it and share it with your friends, you tend to adapt that it's okay to have an online presence. Like, it's actually the only way you're gonna stay afloat now. If you do have a business or
And I
new
think
venture or whatever.
personal brand. Like having a personal brand, I think in 2025 is vital to the success of anything anybody's trying to do, whether that's getting a job in corporate, whether that's getting a, a business off the ground, being able to have a digital footprint and have people know you. Because the moment, I don't know about you, but anytime somebody like refers me to somebody, the first thing I ever do is look them up either on YouTube or Instagram. And if I don't see
Yeah.
them and they have an unfollowed page or like a not active page or restricted and you have to request them, I'm like, who are you and why are you trying to hide?
Why are you so shady?
Like, and it's not because they're probably great people, but I'm just like, immediately, I'm like, you don't want to be found. Like,
Right.
so therefore, why should I find
I
you?
remember growing up, like when Facebook started being a thing, everyone talking about be careful what you post because if you want to get hired by a job, the first page they're going to go to is your Facebook. And I'm like,
I was like, even now for like the industry that I'm in like the marketing world, I'm like, the actual job applications people ask for is literally like, what's your profile? Like, what's your personal Instagram, personal YouTube channels? What have you done? What websites have you built? I'm like, you have to have digital footprint. And if you don't, your resume is absolutely worth less than, it's not worthless, but it's worth less than somebody else
yeah,
who has a digital presence and a brand. And I'm like, even watching you build your brand is pretty cool because like in an industry that so many people do, like in network marketing, there's so many people that sell the same exact product and service, but being able to have a brand that is authentically you is the reason that certain people come and they work with you versus other people. Talk to us a little bit about like who it is that you get to work with and why you work with them and how you go about doing that.
yeah, that's a great question. So again, just seeking people who I was even interested in what they were doing, right? Whether it was like aesthetic wise, even though obviously that's like judging a book by its cover, but we're human, we all do it. Like we
Human nature.
Yes, it's human psychology. So, like, my mentor knew what she was doing by the time she was doing it when I found her. But more than aesthetics, it's really like, okay, what are these people valuing, right? Like, what are they constantly pouring into? Lifestyle, yes, but I feel like that could also change. I mean, you have a kid, your lifestyle, if you choose to, right? It completely flips upside down. So, really just understanding, like, okay, why are these people doing what they're doing? How do I feel about that, right? Is it something that's like igniting a fire or passion in me that I didn't even know, let's say, was dormant, right? Which really trading has done that for me. I've discovered now I want to public speak. Like, would I have ever done that if I hadn't seen some of my mentors public speak and talk about how much they invest in themselves, how they just travel and go to certain events because they know the exposure, they're going to meet new people there, right? The conversations that lead to actual deals or collaborations, or just like those seeds that are planted, like maybe I could do this, maybe I should. Right? You won't know until you're really not like following someone who's a couple steps ahead of you. And I guess that's what I see more now about mentorship. It's not necessarily like, oh, yeah, we follow this person because they spoke in all these countries and this is what they get paid every month. It's like more so how they don't have to do that and they still do it because they know that every time they do, it's either a new life impacted or it just hit someone a different way in a different season of their life, and you're legit like a walking ball of transformative energy, like just what you're doing for the world, you know? I feel like the people I've followed have really made waves of impact. And you said how I found them and like why I work with them.
It's like why you work with the people that you get to work with. It's like the choice because there's values that are associated with who you get to work with.
Right. So it's funny because I also feel like, I'm very faith led. Right, I'll say, or at least I thought so. I know I'm being called, let's say, like constantly. And again, that's also through the people I'm working with that at the time I wasn't planning on having kids or anything. All the people I worked with, most were already mothers. So it was like a thing you see as you go, like, okay, well, maybe these are the people I should have been surrounding myself with because in the long run, we want the same things. Whereas, I don't know, maybe if you're younger, right? If you're like in your early 20s, even 25, I feel like 30 is very young. I feel like a teen mom and I'm gonna be 30, okay? So, I mean, like, you can really transform your mind and things change in like 2 to 3 years. Like, if I was to look from 20 to now, every 2 to 3 years have been so different and like so transformative. But, you want to start asking yourself, even then, what is it that you think you really want in life?
Mm,
If you want really nice things that seem big and grand, but honestly just come from that feeling of peace, then you should surround yourself with people who kind of already have that or are on the way. Building healthy relationships, surrounding themselves with healthy environments. We're not saying that things are going to be perfect because I also feel like where there's a lot of success and abundance, there's also a lot of opportunity to like mess around. Now you have more money to do what you want, to go where you want, to spend it how you want, right? So I think the main reason I stick to the community is because over time I just see the wins. Like some of my mentors weren't married when I met them, now they're married. They didn't have the businesses they have now, they built it with their spouses actually. Or even maybe their spouses, speaking of like women, maybe they had no ventures and were just stay-at-home moms, which beautiful, great. But now they do both. Now because of what their partners did or their community did, it's like you see the build, you see the blessings and the abundance. So I continue to want to learn from them, and like, yeah, what are you guys actually doing? What's the new wave? Because network marketing again is only like a vehicle in industry, but there's so many talented, skilled, educated people that I've met just because of this industry.
yeah, I think the industry as a whole has so much talent in it. And then you find people that you resonate with, and you just get to figure out different businesses, whether it's in network marketing or whether it's a whole brand new business that's just a partnership between the two of you or something like that. Like, there's so much brilliant stuff that comes from the
Yeah.
industry. And it's like, never in a million. I was literally taught in school, like in marketing school, business school, that network marketing was like the worst thing ever. I'm like, this is the gateway to entrepreneurship. Like, if you actually wanted to, it's like kindergarten of entrepreneurship. When you first get into the industry and you get to
Yeah.
experience, it's the cheapest, it's the fastest way to like build a business, because you don't have to do the fulfillment. You literally just have to connect customers to a company, or
No
connect
contracts, you could
no
stop when you want. Like,
there's no the amount of energy and effort it takes for somebody to run a traditional business or a startup business from just their own stuff. I was like, you're talking about all of the other things that network marketing takes care of. And the only thing you have to learn is how to get customers and how to provide a service and help people. And so I think it's like the industry as a whole teaches so many skill sets that are so valuable that you can go on and do infinitely abundantly things with those skill sets, which is really cool to see.
yeah,
um, let's see. Yeah, it's really fun to watch your journey.
thank you.
And I'm like, we've only met like through,
Also, yeah.
yeah, I was like, through the, yeah, like
But
through
look at that. Like now I know I have someone to text when I'm in Houston and be like, "Hey, I want to do something cool," or like, "Let's film something," or "I have this idea." Before I didn't have that. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't have the mentality, and I also put like so many barriers or like just limitations thinking, well, if I want to do this, I got to do that and have this much money and I need a photographer and then this. And I'm like, well, now I know all those people and I have relationships with them.
I was like, those, I think let's talk about the importance of getting to in person events, whether that's because I know your life's transformed from going to events. So is mine. I think that's how I ended up doing what I even do, was simply from going to the first event that I ever went to and then continually going to events.
Yeah.
What was the first experience of an event for you?
It was in 2021. Orlando, like, around this time, I think August.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I met my mentors and the girl who signed me up, Melanie, my sponsor, I guess you could call it, when it comes to the business model. Yeah, we had a lot of, I mean, the event was educational, right? Like this one felt like we're going to a conference, everyone had their books out. I'm here taking notes. I'm like, man, I didn't even want to keep going to school. And like, here I am, never ends, but then it's like cool, it's something I'm interested in with people I also think are doing really cool things, all have their ventures going on. Again, we had different moms from like Mexico, the team is in Miami, Orlando, New York, Chicago. I think it was like just the first time because I'd gone to many events. I've seen people who were famous and dance in this video and do that. But it was like the first room I was in that like people were talking about like real shit. And I was like, oh,
You're like,
this
"Oh,
is
okay."
getting deep, yeah. So more so, like, I just remember that time, like, in the hotel rooms and, like, the topics of conversation and how willing we were to kinda just, like, lay everything on the table if it meant leaving better than how we arrived. So, yeah, online is great. Even now, I get, like, goosebumps thinking about it, but then when you're in person, obviously, like, we're holding energy, we're exchanging that. So you need to feel it. You
Yeah,
could write about it, you could see it online, you could feel it through a video, but like you'll never regret taking that chance to give yourself not only a new experience, but like experience someone's story, someone's presence.
definitely.
And I never looked back. So much of that, like, I was that kid in school who wanted to sit in the back. And, like, even if you changed me, I remember what my physics class, my teacher was like, "It doesn't matter where I put you, right?" And I'm like, "No, we're all friends. What do you want me to do? Not talk?" Like, I'm gonna talk on the right side of the room in front of you. I'll talk to you. But even those things made me so, like, I lost so much enthusiasm for school and like groups and making new friendships that when we were in those rooms, I felt like, okay, maybe I'll still be in the back, but like I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna feel what everyone feels right now. And I could be hidden, but it like made me want to be in front of the room. So, a main goal the last 2 years has been getting out, educating people, hosting community days, training days, whether it's exposure to what we do or giving you guys exclusive trainings or just having a space where we could do it finally together. Because we're all doing this online, but doing it together is going to give new breakthroughs, is going to give you a perspective of someone else's eyes that, like, at home you can't see. But if they're up here explaining it to you, maybe it just switched the game for you. So, definitely get to events if in any type of business you guys are in. You want to hear a person's voice and see their body language and like it builds that relationship and that builds trust, which therefore, if you got trust for other people, it's because you could trust yourself. So you're going to show up better online, you're going to show up better in your business, and it's always a learning experience.
That's really cool. I think, yeah, getting into the rooms, I think one of the best things was first you get into the room, then you serve the room, then you speak in the rooms, and then you become the keynote speaker. Like, if anybody's ever trying to break into any level of public speaking, first you have to get into the room, then you have to serve the room, however that looks like, whether that looks like serving them gifts, talents, advice, connecting them to other people, being the connector, being the go-to person that the room goes, let's keep putting you up into positions. I know that you are about to speak at an event, right? Um,
I did speak at an
you
event.
did speak at an event. How was
Yeah.
it?
Oh my gosh, I thought my heart was gonna, like, had a pull outside my chest, and it's funny because, again, like, I was thinking back, like, you do this. Every moment has been preparing you for this, like, the reason you even said yes was definitely because instead of me questioning if I was prepared, it's like, yeah, I do this. That's why the opportunity came. So even though I was like it was hilarious how it came about, it was actually someone I met at an event. It was a speaker's event that I randomly got invited to by a friend because his invite couldn't make it. He was like, "I can't think of anybody else." And I'm like, "I guess that means I gotta go." Like, I can't even say no. And that was great. I mean, it was different because, again, I've been riding this and like learning with a very particular community. You know, we've traveled the world, but we always travel together. So it was like the first time the baby hen is like doing the task without the squad. It almost felt like, but again, it shows me that there's so many squads, right? There's alignment with everybody that we come across if you want to look at it that way. So it's a community of women. The base, I mean, I don't even think there's no such thing anymore. We're from all over, but it was in Canandaigua, which is upstate New York. And ironically, not ironically, it's a town where it's like the first trials ever of women rights happened. So being in like this community of women who have such powerful stories. I mean, again, some are doctors, psychologists, therapists, social workers. A lot of them work with like search and rescue programs and philanthropy and like things that I've always been gravitated to. Things that I really feel like, that they have the time and the money, like, yeah, that's a project I'll work on. Or like, I want to meet someone who does this because I think this is really cool. I felt like it was that moment, like another in-person event opportunity to relationship build, to really feel these women, who they are, right? And understand that like now that we've shared this space, it's personal. When we reach out for help or for collaborations, now that moment in time is always gonna be like the why we continue to say yes to each other or like the things we want to do. Cause yeah, the impact is more valuable than anything. I would say that's another event that changed me. Everything about it, like the town is so beautiful being from here in Queens where like we all live on top of each other and like all the houses are stuck together. It was like beautiful farmland, one house on one lot, acres over there. But yeah, to see like a tight knit community, it felt like, and the mission obviously is to grow. Like times are moving anyway. So like even if it is a very traditional seeming like agricultural town, it's still gonna like I'm still looking to move into there, right? I know there's gonna be more businesses opening or people moving there too. So like what's the goal? Like what are we all gonna do together? What are we bringing to this location, to that location? So I think it gave me a boost of like how I could do more.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It was scary, not gonna lie. Like, I'm used to going like this off the dome and sharing experiences, but when you're keynoting, again, it was something that I'm like, this is challenging. I think I wanna do it.
You're like, let me challenge my skill set. It's
Yeah.
to be put into positions. I think the best thing that, like you said, like with starting a brand or starting anything online, it allows you the ability to be put in position to do the next thing that's on your vision. And if we never put ourselves in the position of getting lucky, and luck is literally just when opportunity meets preparation, you put yourself in those situations, you put yourself online, then you put yourself in rooms, then you put yourself in a position when somebody's like, hey, do you want to do this? You're like, you can say
Yeah.
no. Like you
Yeah.
could say no, but I've never seen anybody do anything worthwhile that says no to opportunities that make them grow. Like you said yes to this podcast because you're like, it's a chance to grow. It's also a chance for us to connect. And I know we've gotten to connect here and there, but not
Yeah.
actually like on a real like conversational level. So it was really fun to be able to do that and just to be able to share the spaces that, like, I love podcasting. I love having conversations with people. And
Me
so I'm
too.
like, the more conversations that I can have with more entrepreneurs, the more people I know who to send to. And when somebody's like, I have this problem, I have this thing, I have this thing. And one of my friends, Fimi, I know you know Fimi, she's always like, she's one of the best connectors because she just
Yeah.
ask people what they do and how they do it and who she can help. And every time I'm like, I've learned so much from her from the perspective of like, if I just know this information, if I just ask people
Right.
genuinely what it is that they do and how do they do it and who do they serve and all of these different things, then I can send people to the right people. And it's like we build this network of the network effect of really cool people doing really cool things in really cool places. And then the off chance that I go to New York, it's like I'm gonna hit up Luz and be like, all right, what are you doing?
Now
I got
you better. Now we gotta make that a plan because Femi was actually gonna come too,
yeah.
earlier this summer. Yeah, first of all, love her. Second of all, yes, have experienced in the flesh, like how this woman just attracts people. I actually was with her in Dallas in October. We were having lunch as soon as we met, hopped off the plane, comes back, of course, with a friend. I'm like, we've been here for 2 hours. Like, who is this person? But she was wearing the right shirt with the right information, let's say, that attracted this person. And it was so funny because it was like the confirmation I was seeking. Because as I landed, I'm thinking about my daughter. I'm thinking about, like, am I crazy? Like, this was one of the first trips I took. I'm like, am I nuts? Like, am I not supposed to be here? And then comes this man talking with Femi, which you could imagine how that conversation went, right? But again, it was because I said yes to the scary trip because I knew, okay, I'm gonna be with a friend, with someone I know as soon as I land, and it's gonna be good. And we're both in this experience to be uncomfortable, probably, but it's for growth, and we just always receive. So it's the best. What we do is so cool.
I love it. I love knowing now, like being out of the industry and knowing that like I have all of like some really awesome connections, and I also get to build things now for people that are still in the industry. And I'm like, that's so
You're
special.
always gonna be in the industry. Stop playing.
I'm definitely in the public speaking industry in the
Yeah.
world, but like as far as the network marketing industry, I'm like now I get to serve network marketers through what it is that I do through branding and communications, because I'm like every single one of them, I love them so much, that have all of these great passions and these things, and I'm like, if I can help you communicate those better and get more clients and get more traction in your businesses, it makes my heart happy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I love that was an evolution of me, because I always thought that I would like still doing trading, still doing the very specifics like of selling those services. And I was
Mhm.
like, at some point I had to be like, I love it for myself, but I don't like doing this. I don't like being that resource. I want to be this resource for these people, because I want to always have these types of conversations. And so I had to really like look at the types of conversations that I was having and be like,
Yeah.
what lights my soul on fire? Because we always tell people like, what lights your soul on fire? Like what would you do if you didn't make any money? It's like you would have these types
Right.
of conversations. I'm like, I've been doing this for 4 years, having these conversations. Now it's time to like actually do this for a living and be able to have the most amount of fun, make the most amount of money, enjoy the most amount of time.
Yeah.
It's fun watching you do that in the trading space, especially for women and for moms, and for building out a place where people feel safe in a industry that is literally so cutthroat and so like you're the worst if you can't figure out trading. Like it's already hard, and it's the hardest skill set you could possibly learn. And the way that you guys
Yeah.
go about doing making it easy for women to learn is a breath of fresh air in an industry that is so not meant for not designed for women to succeed in. So I think
Yeah.
that's a really cool angle that you guys have, and this
Thank
was
you.
it's really fun watching you guys grow, watching your brand grow, watching the people that I know that you get to impact on a day-to-day basis. It lights me up when I see a post of, and that's why I'm on Instagram so much. People are like, what do you do? I'm like, I study Instagram like for a living. um and so like I
That's how
know
I feel really when people are like, "How are you so good?" I'm like, "Because I'm just sick with it." Like, it's not even that I make time for it. It's like I gotta take time for other stuff because I'm always studying Instagram.
it's like I'm
So,
studying humans, I'm studying what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how can I help them make the most of their time on the internet. But this was an awesome conversation. I'm glad that we
I loved it.
got to connect and chat it up. Is there any, I think, final question I have for you is, this podcast is called Defy Your Limits. Out of all of the things that you've learned over the years, what was a limiting belief that you had to overcome and defy the limits that you had on yourself?
So many. I think it's just the fact that I'm the first one in my family to, like, do anything the way that I'm doing it. Even the dynamic I have with my daughter, single mama. And even battling with that, like wondering, was I in over my head? Like, just as I've been with my job and what I want, and like just so cutthroat and quick to make certain decisions. But one was that just because things look different doesn't mean that they've failed.
Mm,
Like, of course they're gonna look different. Our parents raised us 30 years ago. So if you really think about like the development of our world, there's been a lot. And social media, it's gonna look like a coin, right? A coin has two sides, almost like red pill, blue pill. Social media, get educated, surround yourself with people who are doing great things with it. Because if not, it could be all the opposite. And that's all I'm gonna say. At the end of the day, we're in a place, and I think a lot of countries are now opening up opportunity to really like live freely. Freely meaning you're still gonna have to work, you're still gonna have to invest in yourself, but how great that it could be something that you actually love and are passionate about, right? So there's never been an opportunity as such. Yeah, just because your journey looks different than anyone doesn't mean you failed. It just means you're probably an innovator, one of the people in your circle that makes those decisions faster than people. You could be that mustard seed. You are the seed, right? But just knowing that allows you to perform and show up a lot better. So I'm always like, I wonder how I'm perceived online because I feel like I'm very like, I've learned how to put a part of me out there, and then I let it do its thing. Like, if I'm feeling funny, I'll go all in. If I'm feeling professional, so maybe it's definitely things I have to work on. But again, it's my community, so I want you guys to feel like you know me. I want you guys to laugh and not just like learn skills, but enjoy who is behind all this because at the end of the day, it's the reason why any of this is put together the way it is. You wouldn't be following Loose Trades if it wasn't the package that you get with it, if you're still following me.
yeah.
I did ask you the same question though. What's been something that like you finally broke that tie with?
When I learned that fear was there's only two types of fear that we have in life. It's the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. I was like, oh, so the rest of this fear that we have in our life is made up. Like it's literally taught to us. And I was like, so the rest of this fear in the world for trying at something and failing or trying to put yourself out there and it not going well, like it's all just fabricated, made up fears. I was like, that fundamentally changed the way that I viewed trying anything. And I was like, oh, it's cool. And like learning the fear and greed through trading, I was like, if you can master these two emotions, I think fear it took over my life for a long period of time. Like I would be super successful, but I would also like be terrified of failure and terrified of messing up. And I would ask everybody's opinions about everything because I couldn't trust my own. And I was just like, that's because I just feared everything, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fear is needs to just like get out of my life. And so when I really, really realized that we intrinsically, like as a human, are only afraid of loud noises and falling, I was like, that did it for me as far as like breaking that mental barrier, and it's been a game changer ever since.
Yeah, I love that one. That's a principle I live by too. Thank gosh. Thank gosh for books and personal development.
But this was amazing. I'm super excited to get this out, and we will catch you guys in the next podcast.
Yes, thank you. Bye.